back up, or wait, not that.
Yeah.
You built it back up.
Sure.
Okay. Devin Carter is the son of Anthony Carter. Yep, that's where we're at. Everybody in the NBA now had a dad that was on our fantasy team. That's how old we all are. He is a 6'3" combo guard from Providence, so much like our local guy there.
Yeah, apparently did some pretty good things at the draft combine, whatever that's worth. Some good metrics, good vertical.
They said had a pretty decent draft combine so far as Bronny James.
Actually. Well, I'm sure they weren't covering him too much.
No, not at all. He is an on-ball defender, a good athlete, a rebounder, has that dog in him, and is a good finisher at the rim.
Those all sound good.
Negatives. Is a little older, but again,
that's a Monty wheelhouse.
Yep. Some of his ball handling decisions are a little yuck, and compared to other guards in the draft, not as good of a shooter. So for me, look, you got to take, again, we've agreed, best player available. This also incredibly sounds like like Davion Mitchell and Keon Ellis had a baby. And
repetitive?
Absolutely repetitive at a position of strength for them, which is, defensive backup point guard.
Yeah.
They've got Mitch now.
Now, is he better than the other two?
Is he better? And by the way,
can he be better? Is there a higher ceiling? I don't know.
Are you going to move Mitchell, or are you going to move Ellis? I imagine Ellis will, not draw interest on his own.
Such a good team-friendly contract.
Absolutely huge. But that's kind of where the Kings are at right now. Is what was I was telling somebody about this yesterday about I know I say this every day, and I'm not going to get into it how I don't think they're going to use the pick, because watch, they'll use the pick, but just if they end up using this pick, I really hope it's because there's just nothing out there.
Trade-wise? And maybe the trade-wise isn't for the pick. It's for people on the roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or future picks.
I am mad, like last year, for example, they used the pick to basically extend Domantas Sabonis is what they traded it for. I just, the more and more I think about it, it's a rough draft. Allegedly, they and really, assumedly, almost certainly, whoever they pay, it's just not on their timeline, and it's not going to make enough of an impact difference next year. This is a we gotta get back in the playoffs, win now. What else did Monty always say? We don't want to be that team. We don't want to be the Bulls. I don't think he said that, but the Bulls part. But we don't want to be a team that's in the playoffs one year and then out for the next few. Well, that's exactly what they did.
Right.
They did not do the sustained in the playoffs thing. And yes, there were injuries at the end of the year. And yes, the West got better. But honestly, when we have a clear-eyed view of the season, the Kings should have been in the playoffs. And the Kings mentally missed the amount of horrible losses they suffered throughout the year did not help them whatsoever, especially when they were that close. I mean, just the difference between one win, you're not playing the Pelicans most likely.
Right, which to the Kings would have been a world of difference.
100%. And the highlight of the year, and really the highlight of everything since 2002, arguably, has been that win over the Warriors. And that was a great moment. And they got that. But now you're looking at them as, okay, you got Sabonis, you got Fox, you got two all-NBA caliber dudes that both had career years, that both should have been all-stars. They did their jobs. Keegan Murray took a mini leap. If he takes the same leap this year from last year as he, next year to this year, then we're going to really be cooking with fire. Keon Ellis emerged towards the end of the year as a defensive guy, somebody that could help, but terrible year from Herter. Not that great year of a year from Harrison Barnes. Trey Lyles injuries did not do what we thought he would. A lot of that. And I'm forgetting somebody in there, David. I said Keegan. I said, Malik Monk. Had a wonderful year. And now you've got that decision to make. On top of that, looking at the draft, and it's just every day you hear a new story about, well, this guy's available, that guy's available, this guy's looking to move. Kings are in a really strange spot right now. They're not being talked about.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Sam brought up earlier, right? But his gut's kind of telling him too, like they need to do something. Yeah. That's kind of the feel
they have to.
They got a good team, good core here, but I think by also missing the playoffs, it further proved that, right?
Yes.
The West is good. The West should be good again. It could completely shuffle around from what it did this year.
Yes.
And they could be on the positive side of that. But if they don't do it right, they could miss the playoffs again. And all of a sudden you're looking at, wait, I thought this team was on the way up. I thought they made more good moves here And if you make it once and miss it twice with what looks to be a pretty good team, that's an issue.
Monty McNair has stood pat twice in major moments in his GM career for the Kings that stand out. One was the trade deadline the year before last, and guess what? That worked out pretty well. They passed everyone. They got the 3 seed. The other was over the summer in the trade deadline this year. I think what was last summer's edition? Was that the Kessler Edwards summer? What was it?
No, last summer was Sasha
Vezenkov,
McGee,
and Chris Duarte. So basically moves around the edges.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. For one reason or another, it didn't work.
Right.
You can't do that again. You cannot go into this year. There's got to be a major or a fairly major move because you also have the fans right now kind of on pins and needles. There's you can't have this fluctuation, if you will, because mentally it's taxing. And as he said from the beginning, he doesn't want to be in and out of the playoffs. You got to get rid of the fluctuation, just like you have to get rid of the fluctuation in your gas bills each and every year. And that's why I turn to my friends in American Energy Heating and Air, who want you to get rid of those fluctuating bills